Hey guys, how are you doing today? This is Kenny Stahl. Welcome back to another video on this channel. Something that I truly believe is that I'm just never quite good enough in my life. I'm just not happy at any given moment with the quality of my life or who I am. And I always feel like I can improve. I always feel like there's some other version of myself that I want to become. And I constantly see myself making progress in life, and I think, okay, this is awesome. I'm getting closer to being the person who I want to be. And that's an interesting thing to say, and I hear people say this a lot. Trying to be the person who I want to be. Because it seems like all of us want to be something else. We all want to be somebody else. And it's this thing that I am so interested in learning about, and what I'm passionate about is that idea that you just are not satisfied with yourself and your life. And you know, I don't really have all the answers to all the questions I have, but I constantly wonder why we feel this way. Why people feel so just unhappy in life and unfulfilled. You know, it's like I go through my life and I constantly feel like I'm just not living up to my fullest potential. I think that's really what it is. But this idea that like there's this other person who you're trying to become is kind of a weird way to think, because we imagine ourselves in the future at some point being someone else, but what is it about that ideal version of yourself that is different from who you are right now? Like, what makes that person different? That person that you imagine yourself to be. The person who you want to be, right? Maybe that person that you imagine is you having more confidence. Or maybe that person is you being happier and having more money, or being more friendly, or being more funny, being more responsible, being able to really take care of yourself. There's all these different characteristics of a person that maybe you just don't feel like you have all those things yet. So for me in my life, I want to work on a lot of skills. I want to work on my communication skills so I can say things that are on my mind and articulate powerful ideas, and I constantly work on that skill of getting better at it. Something else that I want to work on is just my charisma, because I think I'm kind of boring and stuff like that. So for me, the person who I want to be is able to speak in a way that's engaging with people, and I can connect with other people, and that way I'm not so lonely. That way I'm not so, by myself and isolated all the time. I want to be able to fit in with people, essentially, and I want people to like me. So a lot of times when I think about who I want to be, I imagine somebody who's attractive and likable. And not only that, but I constantly see myself failing over and over again in my life and everything. And I want to get to a point where everything I do successfully, or I want to get to a point where I'm able to accomplish big things, whatever that might be. So I think that's kind of something that a lot of people can relate to. This idea that that there's more that you can do. But the problem with this idea is of trying to be someone else, of trying to be the person who you want to be, you trying to live to your fullest potential. While that's a good thing, if you're trying to be somebody entirely different than who you are already, it's just not going to work. Think about it this way. A rock cannot transform into a tree, because that's what we want. We want change. We want transformation. But one thing, like a rock, cannot become something totally different, like a tree. So my point with this is that whatever it is that you want to be in the future, whatever it is that you're aiming for, you are already, right now at this given moment, you are on a trajectory. You're on a path set in motion already to being somewhere. It's like if you wanted to plant a seed in the ground and wait for it to grow, that seed is going to grow into whatever it is meant to be, whether that is a tree or a flower or whatever. There's already that predetermined nature to it. So yeah, it's this idea that you have a nature that is who you are. So instead of trying to transform yourself into something entirely different than what you already are right now, recognize that you're at a place right now in your life. You have all the strengths and weaknesses that you have. What you want to do is be able to understand yourself as good as you can, have some level of self-awareness to recognize those strengths and weaknesses, and then build upon them. And if you have bad habits, those would be weaknesses. So try to identify those bad habits and change your behavior or do something to get out of that. Or if you constantly struggle with a negative mindset that's really affecting your life, work on identifying how you think negatively and try to replace your mindset, which is maybe a bad mindset, into one that's more realistic and objective in its nature. Whatever it might be, whatever you have to work on. And then build upon your strengths, what skills you have, what you're good at, and try your best to create your life to being what it can be realistically. So there are things like, well, maybe what you want to be the person who you want to be is just be more confident and just be more responsible and stuff like that. That's great, because those things are things that you already have. It's not like there's no such thing as you not being confident. Maybe you're insecure a lot in your life. Maybe you, generally speaking, lack confidence. So maybe you can say the person who I want to be is confident all the time. Well, it's just recognizing that you're not changing anything. You're not like gaining some special superpower. Like, you already know what it's like to be confident. So you just have to be able to recognize when you are feeling good in your life, when you are confident or happy, or when you do something the right way that you want to do it the right way. Understanding how you got to being that way and then replicating it over and over again in the future. So all of us have the potential to be as good as we want to be and to be the absolute worst version of ourselves. There's the best version of ourselves and a worst version of ourselves. So the really tricky part, I think, in life is recognizing that we're not going to really change much about ourselves, but we can choose to live in a way that brings out the best in what we already have. And that's really what it means to really be the person who you want to be. If you want to be something that is entirely different from who you are, if you're trying to be like someone else, you are most likely trying to be something that you will never be able to become. And that's a huge problem, because when you set a goal that's unrealistic, when you're pursuing this ideal version of yourself, you're just chasing something that's impossible to get. And if you say that I'm only going to be happy when I become that one thing, you're just setting yourself up for disappointment and feeling like a failure and feeling worthless in life. So, when you're saying, oh yeah, I want to try to be the person who I want to be in life, it's like, okay, but when are you going to actually become that person? When are you actually going to get there? Because I've made so much progress in my life, and many times I just forget to be like, oh yeah, I'm doing great. But instead, I choose to focus on how I'm not there yet. But if I constantly keep saying, I'm not there yet, I'm still trying to be that person who I want to be, well, what happens when I'm 50 years old and it's like, oh, I'm still not the person who I want to be, Like, at some point, something went wrong, where in my life, I didn't realize that I should, instead of focusing on what I'm not, focus on what I am. And that, my friends, is my message for today. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and maybe these thoughts of mine made you think about something, and hopefully you can learn to feel good about who you are, work on your strengths, work on your weaknesses, and try to just be the best you can be without trying to be something that you can't. So, we're all different. I don't really know that much about you, but this is something that's helpful for me in my life, so thank you guys for watching. If you're new for the channel, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, leave a quick comment down below, and if you thought this video was good, make sure that you share it so other people can find my channel. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Take care. Good luck with your life. I'll see you in my next video.